Once a mortal sets foot upon the path of the beast, there can be no return. It is not merely a decision or a ritual, it is a fundamental unraveling of self and soul. A journey undertaken not across space, but through the very metaphysical fabric of creation. The first steps are deceptively gentle, wrapped in euphoria and intoxicating sense of purpose. The supplicant feels elated, free from guilt and shame, infused with unnatural vitality. It is a beginning laced with bliss, with every heartbeat echoing with a thrill that feels divine. Yet it is not God who answers their longing. This path, often called the path of ruin by those who fear it, promises escape, not from physical imprisonment, but from the very architecture, divine order. To walk it is to reject the divine image into which mortals were shaped. It is to seek liberation from the limits imposed by the Creator, to dissolve the sacred design and remake the self in a form dictated not by God's will, but by instinct, desire, and the deep pulse of the wild. The journey unfolds through trance, ecstasy, and transformation. Devotees enter altered states of consciousness. Rituals, drugs, fasting, the consumption of forbidden meats, and prolonged exposure to sacred wilderness all induce a rapturous state of adoration. In this state, the supplicant spirit detaches from the visible world and begins to wander through the unseen maze, the labyrinth that forms the hidden underpinning of creation. This invisible maze is ancient, predating human understanding, and its paths were never meant to be navigated by mortal souls. The faithful among the horned priests say that this maze lies in the very bones of the world, in the architecture of dreams and the secret movements of beasts. It is the soul's backward journey through the inner mechanisms of existence, each turn a renunciation of humanity, each fork an unmaking of one's place in the great chain of being. This is not a road paved with reason or righteousness. The labyrinth shifts with every thought, reconfigures itself with each tremor of doubt or clarity. One does not merely walk the path of the beast. One is dismantled by it, reshaped through each step into something less human and more primal. As the supplicant progresses, their memory begins to fade. Names vanish first, then faces, then reason. In place of these, new instincts emerge: hunger, unrelenting and bestial. Their limbs grow strange in the waking world, their thoughts erratic. Often they are driven from society, living like animals, howling under the moon and sleeping in ditches, carving sacred runes into trees with claws they did not possess before. These outcasts straddle the line between man and monster. These are the ones people speak of in half-remembered tales. Skinwalkers, werewolves, changelings, Marbendel. Each culture attempts to name them, to rationalize their twisted existence. But these names are incomplete, for such creatures are not merely cursed. They are initiates who fail to finish the journey. Most never reach the end of the path. The labyrinth is unforgiving, and few have the spiritual tenacity to withstand its illusions. Some are swallowed by dead ends, doomed to wander forever in forms not entirely their own. Others lose all sense of self and simply dissolve into madness, their bodies still animate but without purpose. They become the beast's wayward progeny, shifting feral wretches who haunt forgotten glades, scream at the stars, or skulk in ruins where no sane man treads. But among these failures, a precious few reach the center. They have endured every shedding of skin, every loss of memory and form, and now stand, bare of all that once bound them, before the primordial truth. At the center of the labyrinth lies the beast itself, not a metaphor, not a vision, but a divine presence, older than creation. Behemoth, first of all God's works, a being forgotten by Scripture and hidden from the laws of heaven. Behemoth is vast beyond comprehension. It does not speak, for it is not a mind, but a principle, brute existence made sacred. Across its titanic hide are etched the Sephiroth, the 10 divine emanations, glowing with internal fire. Between its ribs are inscribed the 22 letters of creation, the building blocks of all things, from the stars to the soul. These sacred symbols in the hands of the faithful are tools for understanding and worship, but to the followers of the beast, they are keys, means of deconstruction, disassembly, and ultimate liberation. The supplicant, in an act of ritual and will, uses these letters to tear themselves apart, not physically, but metaphysically. They reject the structure God has laid upon them, and begin to rebuild themselves according to their own desire. This is the final act of adoration, to take the clay of creation and remold it with one's own hands. They became not a man, nor even a beast, but something altogether new, something that should not be. They become a Zygotic Lord. This newborn entity is weak at first, embryonic, swaddled in a hideous form that defies symmetry and logic. It returns to the world like a creature from a dream made flesh, birthed from the maze and emerging from caves, sinkholes, and forest hearts. The Zygotic Lord is not born in a hospital or home, but in places where the old powers still linger, where the veil between the material and spiritual thins. It is here that its work begins. It begins to grow, not according to any natural law, but in according with its own desire and the divine hatred it has inherited from the beast. In the wild corners of the world, far from prying eyes, the Zygotic Lord slumbers. Its cults, the faithful who followed it in life or were drawn to its rebirth, gather in secret around its lair. Deep in shadowed valleys, within twisted grottos or atop forgotten peaks, they bring offerings, meat and blood, bones, relics of human civilization to be broken or burned. These gifts are not consumed for sustenance, but for symbolism. Each act of worship is a rejection of human order, a celebration of chaos and monstrosity. The Zygotic Lord feeds. It grows. Each day, its shape becomes more monstrous, more true. Fur, scales, horns, or chitinous plates may emerge. Limbs may split and multiply. It develops not according to a plan, but through a dark logic of its own. Some Zygotic Lords grow wings that span mountains. Others develop dozens of mouths, each one howling hymns of hatred. Some are beautiful and terrible in human ways, glistening serpentine gods of the forest, crowned with antlers and dripping ichor. Each is a reflection of its inner being, the shape it chose to become, forged from its deepest essence in a moment of transcendence. When it reaches its fullness, the Zygotic Lord cannot be hidden. Trees fall as it passes, mountains tremble beneath its tread, but even more fearsome than its size or strength is its voice. The Zygotic Lord does not speak in words. It sings, moans, or howls. sounds filled with the resonance of the primordial maze. When its voice echoes across the land, those who have walked the path feel it like a calling. They fall into frenzy, overcome with joy and madness. Packs of half-transformed beasts dance, kill, and copulate beneath the moon, lost in their sacred ecstasy. For those who are not followers, the Zygotic Lord's voice is even more dangerous. It reveals the labyrinth. The song of the beast tears the veil from the listener's mind and shows them the twisted corridors beneath reality. They see the gears behind the stars, the bones beneath the earth, and the strings that God pulls to keep creation whole. Most cannot bear this revelation. Their minds collapse, severed from their bodies. Some are found staring blankly at walls, mouths agape, unable to speak. Others fall into seizures of madness, babbling of paths and beasts no one else can see. Many end up in sanatoriums or remote hospices, lost forever in inner wildness, their souls still wandering the labyrinth, while their flesh rots in the waking world. These are the gifts of the Zygotic Lord. It does not seek conquest or kingdom. It does not raise banners or armies. Its presence is war enough. Wherever it treads, it wraps the world. Forests twist into unnatural growths. Animals mutate into horrors. And humans descend into fevered worship or madness. It is a god of disintegration, a prophet of the primal, a monument to the possibility that creation itself can be unraveled and remade. To worship the Zygotic Lord is to reject the entire scaffolding of existence. To follow it is to burn your name, your lineage, your memory. To become like it is to be free, not happy, not healthy, not safe, but free, in the oldest and most terrible sense. Free from design, free from purpose, free to become endlessly and monstrously. And so the path of the beast continues. It calls out through the winds and the trees, through the bones of the earth and the flesh of dreamers. It beckons to the lost, the broken, the wild-hearted, and the mad. Its maze awaits those brave or foolish enough to walk it. And at its heart, the beast waits, ever hungry, ever patient, ever ready to welcome its next child into the dark. That was the newest, lowest snippet we've received from the Trench Crusade team, expanding once more on the path of the beast, which seems to definitely be becoming the new Hell-aligned faction that we'll be receiving, along with the Temple of Metamorphosis as the ARG continues to unfold, or maybe doesn't. A lot and nothing has been happening with the ARG, depending on what you are getting from the answers behind the door. Personally, yeah, this is another very interesting creature. Very powerful, I would assume, and kinda broken in a way. But I did have a discussion about who could be the perfect counter to a Zygotic Lord, and we came to the conclusion that it would be observers, because observers wear the Oculus helmets. These helmets tune out all the noises around them so that they can purely hear the word of God. Therefore, the mouths and the voice of the Zygotic Lord wouldn't actually be able to beat them, hypothetically, because they wouldn't be able to hear it because of the Oculus helmets. So, if you ever want to deal with the Zygotic Lord, send in the observers. I have no idea if that's right or accurate in any way, and I'm sure when we get more lore about the Path of the Beast, I will be proven wrong. But I think that would actually be a very good way to show how powerful, despite how overwhelmingly strong a Zygotic Beast is, the fact it could be beaten by observers or really any faithful thing other than, a massive artillery barrage, would be a good way to show how the faithful have been holding back hell. To be honest, I've said it before and I'll say it again. I want to see more of the Levant. I want to see more of the actual battle between heaven and hell. I want to see the strategies. I want to see the trench warfare. I want to see what got me into this setting in the first place. Of course, I love the new lore of Era, because I'm biased, or the Hakapela, because they're a great addition. But I really want to take another look at the core heart of Trench Crusade. Back to the Levant, back to the trench warfare. I have a feeling this hopefully will be happening soon when all the factions have been announced. They have been slowly but surely just adding lore for each of the factions to flesh them out more, which I fully understand. And of course, at the beginning, the Trench Pilgrims, the New Antioch, the Iron Sultanate, they all got lore, they all got expansion, and the Hell factions probably do need a bit of expansion. But I would love if every now and again we get a story of a battle or a story of a siege. I want stories in this universe, and, well, I've had an idea. I don't know if yous would be interested in this, but I would love to write a short story based in the world of Trench Crusade, from the perspective of a New Antioch soldier or maybe a Shrine Anchorite, mechanized infantry even, and either a siege of a New Antioch fortress or stronghold, or a trench attack, and a trench being overrun by hellish forces. Now, I'd probably tell it more like if you know the YouTuber Janovich, who animates really well the Siege of Vrax series and other Warhammer 40k series, although he has, I believe, quit due to recent drama in the Warhammer community. I really hope I'm wrong about that. He's a wonderful YouTuber, and if you liked my stuff, you'll definitely like him. But I would love to write a story in that sort of way, telling a story of a siege or the story of a battle, because I always wanted that from Trench Crusade, and well, if I don't get it from the creators, I might as well make it myself. So let me know if you guys are interested in that in the comments below. Another thing, news for the channel, I've created memberships, because every single time I opened my YouTube Studio app, it would just pop up. Improve your community, boost your income, boost your everything, just boost by creating memberships. It was just advertising it basically nonstop. So I've created a membership. I did that today as I'm recording this. I put a post up just there about putting up memberships. The perks, it's 2 levels. There's a €3 a month level and a €5 a month level. The €3 a month one, it just gets you the usual stuff, the loyalty, the custom emojis, which I am making. They are custom. I will be making them myself. I'm going to try to make them a bit funny or a little bit entertaining. And the €5 one gets you behind the scenes access, member polls, and live chats with me if you want that. I would be happy to do them. So you can make member posts and I will see them and I'll be the first to respond to them. And I'll of course take your opinions on board in how we work with the channel. Because I do want to foster a good community here. I love the fact that 2,240 of you guys are, regularly listening to my stuff, and I want you to enjoy the channel to the utmost of my ability to provide enjoyment. Now, of course, I don't expect any of you to, spend money on me. It was just if you want to support me more than you already do. As I said in the post, every view is appreciated, every like, every comment, every subscriber is enough. It's just this is an extra way to support me if you are generous enough to do so. I would greatly appreciate any support, likes, comments, views, it's all appreciated. But yeah, I just was also told by YouTube to recommend it in my videos, so here you go, YouTube. Please stop sending me notifications about memberships. I've made one now, it's over. Thank you guys for watching. If you have enjoyed this, become a member and get a shout out at the end of my videos. That's another thing I included in them. That's for the €3 option or the €5 option, whatever you do. Anything is appreciated, and you will get a shout out at the end of each of my videos. And yeah, that is all for today. A bit of a shorter video because the lore drop isn't that long and there's no history to compare it to, but, you know, hopefully we get more in the coming days. I hope you have enjoyed this video, and I will see you all next time. Goodbye.